Welcome to Running Down the Clock, where we break down all of this week's big news, events, and controversies from the National Football League. Over the next 45 minutes, we will give you basic fan perspective and opinion on the most important stories and moments happening now. So, let's start the clock. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Running Down the Clock. I am Tyler Walzak. I am here with Poya Ricey. I am sorry if I just burn your ears with that loud intro, but we are excited because we just got through super wild card weekend is what they're calling it now. I think that's stupid, but it was wild card weekend is what it was. And it was exciting. It was great. It was awesome. Maybe it was a super wild card weekend. Puya, did you enjoy your weekend of football? Did you watch football not on your phone?
I did watch football. I did watch on my phone while I was driving to and from sports commitments of my own, which I guess is probably illegal. But I did also watch on TV.
I don't think there's anything probably about it. It's definitely illegal.
I don't know. You can get video screens installed in your car.
No, you can't. People just do.
Oh, it's not allowed?
So not for television purposes. Not in the front seats. Are you in the back seat? Or is someone driving you to your sports?
You know, one of my cars, I got two cars, right? You know, one of them is a Japanese import, which I got legally. And it's got a TV in both front headrests, and the center console has a TV in it. Now, I don't have it hooked up to anything, but I could.
Wait, isn't that front center console television just for like navigation system and radio?
Well, yeah, you can use it for that, but you can also use it as a TV. Like it's just a TV screen. Like if you have some sort of device that will broadcast whatever it is.
So here's my
radio antenna. The part that gets
more
me
frustrating. This just got more frustrating.
The driver's head, like what do you call that thing that flaps down the visor? Yeah. That thing's got a TV in it for the driver.
So you're watching the games as you're driving to work on your phone.
Yeah, but I do that in my other car because it's just got the little my work car that's got the
So why don't you install a television? Like it's already installed in your car. Why don't you make it active so you can actually watch football properly on the devices that are there while you drive to wherever you
I don't drive that car as much. So
why do you have it?
Sorry?
Why do you have it then?
Well, what if I got to take a girl on a date and I need a nice clean car, not my piece of shit work car?
You just have one car and then just keep it tidy like a regular person?
Well,
so you have one car specifically for dating is what you have. So that she can watch television and movies or like Real Housewives as you get to the restaurant is what you're talking about?
Yeah, and then I got another car which I don't have to keep tidy, which is a luxury in itself. Just to have a car, like if somebody cuts you off, I can just ram into them. If some guys
that is
supporting the Packers, yes, and I'm, the Lions just beat them, and he starts flipping me off, I can just crash right into him. I don't care.
I love that mentality because the rule of law I follow when driving on highways or letting people in is whoever has the shittier car is just the one who's going to get the right of way because they're the ones that could take it.
Nothing to lose.
He's nothing to lose.
Yeah.
When I was driving that old Grand Prix that I had, and I had nothing like I don't know what was in it, but it barely moved. The battery would fall out all the time while driving. It's just, I knew that I'm taking the spot. You can not let me in, but I'm going for it because I do not care what happens to me or this car.
Well, I actually remember this car and I rode in this car. Not only was the gas fumes inside the car nauseating for you, but for the other drivers on the road, I don't think the car had a muffler, period.
It didn't. No.
It was the loudest thing out there.
No, it went all the, everything, there was zero muffler from the point where the muffler should start. It was just exhaust fumes.
That went right into the car.
That was a great car.
Oh yeah. So
I love that car.
It was thunderous, but anyway.
Okay, so you watched football in your car.
I saw the games. I saw games.
Now we started off with the Niners-Seahawks game. The first half was good.
Well, the Seahawks kept up. I was surprised actually how long they stayed into that game.
They were leading at half.
Yeah.
The Seahawks were in the lead at half. It was this was the game that there was two games I was very worried about being boring. It was this 49ers game and the Bengals game. Now the 49ers game ended up second half. They just kind of ran away with it. But that was to be expected because the 49ers are a great football team. I don't know what's going to happen with Geno Smith. He is a free agent now. I don't know if he has a better fit anywhere else. I know that he wants probably $100 million, 4 years, $100 million. think he's like 30 years old, maybe 32 years old. He'll get it from somebody. I don't know if there's a better. It's one of those situations where I think you go back to Seattle because you know the system, you know that they appreciate you, and you already have camaraderie in the dressing room, and you have relationships with all the wide receivers and the running back. Even though Kenneth Walker seemed to be pretty angry at him during moments in that game, because we see like Nick Foles and we see other quarterbacks who just come in after 1 year and then they leave to a different team and it doesn't work out. Do you agree?
I think he takes whatever deal gets him to play. He's a guy who's probably, he knows he has limited time left. He sat on the bench a lot, and he showed this year that he can play in the league. I think he takes whatever deal that allows him to actually play.
It would be frustrating to see the Colts get him.
Oh,
because it would just be one of the, didn't work with him again. And they just go on to the next old guy that can just be bought. That would be frustrating to see him go to the Colts.
What do you think about the Colts? I think the Colts just got to bite the bullet and keep a guy for a few years.
I think they need to draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
And actually like
keep him for a few years, develop him, build around him.
Yep. And we talked, they have the fourth overall pick. They should be able to get a quarterback in this draft that they just start them, deal with the 1 year of not being ideal in decision makings and making mistakes, and just go from there, build it up. I get that you have a team everywhere else that wants to win now, but it's not working for you. So let's just take a year.
Just lean on Jonathan Taylor and ruin his career so that he's not good by the time your quarterback's good. Perfect.
Exactly. Trade it off.
Excellent.
Exactly.
Trade it off.
The second game on this Saturday, which was the opposite. You thought after the first half that this game was a stinker. It was 27-0 Chargers. We had this as our game of the week because we're high on the Jaguars. I was high on the Chargers. 27-0 Chargers up at half. Trevor Lawrence had 5 picks in the first half. 5 picks in the first half. And I thought it was done. There was no way they're going to come back. And here we go. Jacksonville beats Chargers with a last-second field goal. What a game. Trevor Lawrence.
That was I missed a bunch of that because I had a commitment myself, but that was one of the ones I was watching in the car. And I was actually thinking of calling you, but I know you don't answer during football games, to ask what would the odds be if I were to take Jacksonville right now?
Yeah, if you just put a $5 money line bet down on Jacksonville at half, you probably could have walked away with, I want to say like $50, $60 easy, at least. At least. I don't know. I didn't check bet stamp at half because it was too much of a risk, because what has Jacksonville ever done to prove that they are a team that in the playoffs
nothing
can come back and do this? Yeah.
But the Chargers have proven that they can blow it.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do because I don't know if they're gonna keep their head coach. I don't know if they've already fired their offensive coordinator. I think that there's a very good opportunity here for somebody like Sean Payton to come in and take over as head coach for the Chargers with a team that is ready to win right now. Yeah, they'd have to trade for him. So that's the weird thing about Sean Payton.
His rights are still owned by the Saints, right?
The Saints, so they'd have to trade for draft picks or something.
They got to get something for him. Yeah,
they got to get something for him, which is awesome for them. I think the Chargers would be the best place for him to go. I don't know if they're ready to leave their coach, but their head coach, what a botched job that was by everybody on the Chargers organization.
Does this change your opinion of Herbert at all?
No.
Not able to put up any points in the second half. Put up 3 points. Put up 3 points.
They put 3 points up. I think a lot of it, sure, yeah. I mean, you can say that a lot of people are putting blame on Herbert, but he's not playing defense. He's not calling defense. The one thing I hate about sports, and I had this conversation with somebody at the dog park today about this exact game, is when teams are up in every sport, they go to what is known as a prevent defense, a basic defense to not let big plays happen. That is the dumbest way to play. If you are dominating a team, why would you ever take your foot off the throttle? Ever.
Continue what's working.
Yeah. Leave no doubt. Yeah. Leave no doubt. Just keep doing blitzing. And then went to a prevent defense for the second half, and it completely backfired. And it always does. And so I don't know, Justin Herbert can't play defense.
But I'm not criticizing the defense, but I'm just saying he put up 3 more points in the second half.
Sure, but did they start running the ball instead of throwing it more? Did they start changing their offensive scheme to hold more of a play clock type of system? What did they do on offense to change up the game plan to take more time off the clock or to keep the ball away from the Jaguars. Because obviously they switched something up as well because they scored 27 in the first half. So I think something, maybe that's why the offensive coordinator got fired. But they changed so much at half to try to hold the lead that they forgot to do what was making them win the game or having them win the game, which is always going to backfire. If you're a head coach anywhere and you're listening to this on any level, probably the only one would be somebody who coaches high school or something. Never take your foot off the gas, ever. It
I
doesn't make
think
sense to go to a prevent
you could
defense. It never
apply
does.
that to any job, anything anyone does. Stick with what's working until it stops working. Don't prematurely abort a good plan.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's right. Now I have a question for you. What were you playing or what were you doing during this game that you couldn't watch?
Oh, I had a soccer game.
So why? So you drive with your phone on, but you can't bring the phone to the soccer game bench, like the bench in the soccer game, or I guess you're running around the whole time.
Yeah, I got to get those. What is it? Google Glass.
Yeah, the
You
glasses.
know. Yeah, so then I can pretend that I have a vision impairment, which I do already, but I don't tell people because I don't wear my glasses. But if I got the game broadcast on that, I just got
There
a
you go.
headphone in and
There you go.
got the gameplay. Yeah, well, that's the next step.
Then you're all set.
Yeah,
This was ended up being though the game of the week. This was a great game. I loved
I
watching the Jaguars come back. It
I
was
was
Saturday
happy with the
night.
result.
Yeah, it was
I,
perfect.
I we both wanted the Jaguars to win. I thought the Chargers were going to win, and you know what? They had the win. They let it slip.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a boring game at half. I fired up I got a pizza maker, a pizza oven, a new pizza oven, Uni pizza oven, for summer. I fired it up, made my first
What kind of pizza did
pizzas.
you make?
I did some pepperoni
Pepperoni.
pizza. I thought I was going to screw it up because the hardest thing to do is to get the pizza into the oven without it like all the toppings falling off and the dough just sticking to the pizza push and peeler.
How much flour are you using? You got to use some
No,
flour
you got to.
in there or something to keep the board the
Do you
little
not think I
pan.
know? Do you not think that I know that?
Well, I just feel like it looks so easy when the guys do it and the pros do
Just
it.
because, yeah, yeah, I agree. It looks so easy when the guys do it. Is not that easy. Anyways, so I just went with basic pepperoni because I wanted to make sure I just got a pizza out of it instead of just making a fucking mess.
I just think
And
you
it
didn't
worked
use
out
enough
well.
flour.
I used enough flour. I never said that the pizza fell off. You assumed that during the conversation.
You said it was
I just
difficult.
led.
You
I
said it's
led.
difficult.
That's the hardest part.
The
Everything
okay,
about
so
pizza is easy. It's just getting it off the peel into the oven, which is the hard part.
okay,
I never said that I failed at it. You
yeah.
just assumed that.
Well, I mean, you just made such a big deal about it that I thought maybe you had a big, massive
We're
difficulty with it.
storytellers here. This is what we do in this podcast. If I just told you facts and nonsense, then nobody would listen. I don't think anyone is listening, but here we are. Um, okay, then so the next game was early game, Bills Dolphins on Sunday. I also thought that this kind of would have been a stinker too, but 34-31. Dolphins stuck with them the entire time, almost a little bit of a comeback at the end there. Uh,
Yeah, with
Bills
a
got a
random ass QB too.
yes, Skylar Thompson, who looked
Yeah.
horrible in the first half of that game. Horrible. Of course he did. Who is he? It
I've
was
never heard of
14-0 Bills after the first quarter.
Yeah.
And then obviously a game got a lot better in that second quarter and 34-31 Bills. To win this game, not much else to be said about it. I feel like this is one of those games where the Bills squeaked a win and kind of maybe they like shook out the sillies a little bit because they gotta be
I
able to
think
play better.
I think both Cincinnati and the Bills kind of didn't play well enough to beat the other team this week. If
Right.
that makes sense.
It does because they're playing each other this week.
They're playing each other this week, but like
Yeah.
neither team played well enough to beat the other team, which also says if they both play lower, well, maybe they're a good matchup anyway.
It's true.
But either way, they both should have won more handedly against a team that didn't have the full squad. But
So let's talk right into the Bengals game. There was a game between that, but we'll talk more Bengals because we're talking about it now. They also had a backup quarterback and made a huge mistake, cost them the game.
yeah, now
Trying to,
I'm sure you saw J.K. Dobbins kind of rant about that afterwards.
yeah.
Would you side with him?
Well, he said two things, right? He said one, we would have won that game if we had Lamar Jackson.
Which I think you would have played differently. Well, if you look at it from the point of if he just did everything that Huntley did, except it was Lamar Jackson in there, yeah, he probably could have put in another two touchdowns.
Yeah.
But had you had him, you would have played completely different anyway.
Yeah, he might have taken more risks and more
Yeah.
interceptions.
So that's tough to say. But
it is tough to say.
I do agree with. It's kind of like I think sometimes it's like taking a penalty shot in soccer. I don't think you necessarily need to have your best guy take it. You got to have the guy with the most confidence.
Right.
And from what he said, like he should have never been put in that position, the quarterback Huntley, to dive in for that ball and lose it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he wasn't that confident in his own ability to hold it. Like I
I
don't know
think he,
what it
I
was,
don't,
but
I think
not,
his mistake was trying to jump over
well, that's just
instead of
it.
just going with like, just because you see a lot of the guys now, like only a certain amount, like obviously, Jaguars game, Trevor Lawrence did it and he was able to reach over. But this, with that offensive line pushing that, if you watch the play, obviously he tried to jump over, ball got hit out of his hand, returned for a touchdown on the other side. If he had just went under the line, like right in there, all those guys got into the end zone.
Yeah.
Everybody got into the end zone. Even the running backs that were trying to push him along after the play fell forward into the end zone. So if he had just had faith in other people instead of just trying to jump up and over himself, again, that could be a confidence thing. Then this game is tied 24-24, or not even. They'd be ahead because they gave up a touchdown the other way.
Now, Dobbins was having a good game. He was
Dobbins is a
playing
good
hard.
player. He's a good
He was
player.
playing hard. He was getting yards. I think it's like a Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl thing. Just give it to your running back when he's having a good fucking game.
I don't,
When
especially,
he's
yeah.
good for yards, just
I
ride him. Ride the hot hand.
agree. I agree.
I think it was one of those one of the New England players who once said like Belichick's got one of those rules of playing smart football: never reach with one hand. It happens all the time, but the
So
risk.
I saw, I forget who was talking about this. Oh, Pat McAfee was talking about this. Peyton Manning, when he played, threw a ball to, I want to say, he had a receiver named Austin something. One of his guys that was one of his steady guys for 8 years when he was in Indianapolis. One game went to try to catch a ball with one hand and dropped it, and Peyton just looked at him, just pointed to the sidelines. Pointed at the sidelines. So he's Austin Collier, Austin something. I don't remember, but he started walking the sidelines to get off the field because Peyton said, get off the field. Coaches tried to put him back in. Peyton said, get back off the field. And so there's a little bit of a situation there. And Pat McAfee walked up to the wide receiver and said, what's going on? What happened? Why are you not in the game? And he said, if Peyton Manning said, if I ever try to catch a ball with one hand ever again, I won't be on this team. Two hands always. Two hands always.
Yeah.
That's why you have them.
Now, Huntley did have two hands, but again, he's reaching out of position against there was like 2-3 guys there that swatted him clearly. That cost him the game.
It is such a risk reward, like a high risk, low reward type situation, like a second down, third down play when you try to reach the ball across like that.
Well, it's a high risk, high reward. You get a touchdown.
It's high risk, low reward, second and third down, high risk, high reward on fourth down. Second and third down, you're going to get another play to stuff it in. So there's no point in trying to reach out and have 12, 11.
It was third down, wasn't it?
Yeah. So you're going to have another play. So you're risking 11 guys they know you're going to either jump up or jump down. So they're going to swat the ball out. On fourth down, if you don't get in, you're giving the ball up on the 1 yard line anyway. So definitely reach out in that scenario. But second, third down, I don't agree with anyone reaching to try to get the line at that point.
Don't take the risk. Maintain position of the ball.
Yeah. It's too risky because I think when the Jaguars did it, when Trevor Lawrence did it this weekend, I think it was actually a 2-point conversion play where they just had one opportunity to get it and so I think that's what the case was there. So it makes more sense. Now, the last game let's talk a little bit about the Baltimore Ravens before we go off because Lamar Jackson's a free agent.
I can see the merit on both sides of this argument. Obviously, Jackson wants a deal. He wants to get paid. He wants to have some sort of security to his future. And I can see how Baltimore just doesn't want to invest in a guy who could get injured like that. Is it smart on Baltimore seeing that, hey, you already got injured now? You might just have more injuries.
Yeah.
That could be what they're trying to avoid. And that's understandable. You're going to give a miss out on one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but you want to take the conservative approach. Sure, that's the way you want to do it. I don't think Baltimore keeps him. I think he goes somewhere else. Someone's going to give him the money he wants.
Yeah.
Somebody for sure will give him the money he wants.
Now, I think they can franchise tag him, which never works out well. I don't know the rules on that, but I also don't think he plays under the franchise tag.
Yeah, but he's a free agent, so he can just say no to that contract, right?
Well,
Or no,
yeah,
you
but then
can't for the franchise tag.
You can't for the franchise tag. You can say I'm not going to play under it, but you can't go somewhere else. If they franchise tag you, then you're not allowed to go play for another team unless they trade you.
So how does that work? So you're not really a free agent?
Yeah. Yeah. You're
So
not
then
really a free agent.
So then you have to serve 1 year on the franchise tag. Then you're a complete free agent because they can't do it twice in a row, right?
They can do it 2 times in a row.
Well, they can do it twice in a row.
Yeah.
And then they can't do it a third.
Yeah. It's a weird thing. And there's also like an age limit for that. And I think that he falls still young. And he's only like 24, 23 years old.
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah. So they can franchise tag him, but he doesn't have to play under it. Which is, I think that's what.
So Le'Veon Bell did.
Le'Veon Bell did, yes.
Yeah.
But I think it works a little bit better for quarterbacks than it would running backs to have a little more leverage. I think it's a risk if they franchise tag him because he deserves the money.
Now, the franchise tag, you actually get paid well, don't you?
Yeah,
it's
you
not
get
the amount
paid.
of money you get; it's that you only have a 1 year deal.
You get 1 year deal. Yeah, you get paid very well. You get paid the top 5 at your position. Average out the top 5 at your position.
Yeah.
So he's going to get paid, but the risk of, especially him, the risk of playing under it doesn't make sense. You want a long-term contract. And if they can give it, if Cleveland in the same division give one to Deshaun Watson after not playing football for 2 years, I believe Lamar Jackson deserves it. Now they can franchise tag him and then trade him to a team that wants to give him a better contract. And there's teams out there like the Colts might do that. The Jets have been rumored to be interested in Lamar Jackson. At one point, the Lions were. I don't think they are anymore with how the success that Jared Goff is having. And the Bears have been interested in
that
him.
Could be a trade, though.
Yeah, so that's what I've been seeing online is a trade straight up Justin Fields for Lamar Jackson.
Sure. Now, it is interesting to know the top 4 highest paid quarterbacks all missed the playoffs. So money doesn't buy you happiness in this situation.
Well, he's happy. So he can buy what he wants.
Who?
Lamar Jackson.
I'm saying if money gets you a better player. The top.
The Ravens have an argument that they still made the playoffs and were a touchdown away from beating the Bengals with a backup quarterback.
For sure. I was surprised how well they did.
I was very
surprised.
I didn't
take them for that good of a team when Lamar wasn't playing. And even when Lamar was playing, I said, you can't rely on one guy to win you every game forever.
No, it's not basketball. Basketball, you can do that, not football. Okay, we got 2 games left to talk about here. Let's go with actually one of the better games on Sunday or of the whole weekend. Maybe this might have been the second best game. Giants Vikings. Now, can I say this? Fucking Kirk Cousins is who we thought he was. Kirk Cousins is not a good quarterback. Kirk Cousins cannot play quarterback in this league. Can we talk about this?
He did try with the game on the line to make a 3-yard throw.
Beautiful 3-yard
throw to the tight end with his back to the defender when he needed 8 yards?
8 yards for a first down. Threw 3-yard out to the tight end who was covered.
Yeah.
Why not just throw it up to Justin Jefferson? Well, I know he was double teamed, but that's your guy. I mean, go out because you're checking down. What are you doing? What's he doing?
It was a bad play.
It's because he's a bad quarterback.
With the season on the line.
He's a bad quarterback. Would they win 13 games? And we've been saying the whole time that they're not a real team. 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 They're Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook and a defense that isn't great either.
Yeah. Oh, no, he blew it.
Oh, yeah. So what do they do now? They can't play another year with him.
They're gonna. They're gonna.
Why?
Because they got him in a big he got a big contract, didn't he? Didn't he get a huge
Sure, but
contract?
at some point, just who cares?
Oh, I agree. If you like, there's a limit on how far a guy can take you.
That's the limit. They've hit it. They just hit it.
Yeah, well, I don't think he was ever winning a Super Bowl. I don't think anybody ever
He
thought
can't win a playoff game.
he's got one playoff win lifetime.
And it was right in his wheelhouse. It wasn't a primetime game. It was right in the Sunday mid-afternoon.
But that was this game too. This wasn't
That's
a.
what I mean. It was a Sunday mid-afternoon game. There was no pressure on old Kirk Cousins. He's just he hyped his. Oh my god, I hate him so much.
I know you do, and that's why I lean on him so much, just to bother you. I couldn't give a shit about Kirk Cousins.
He's not a quarterback. He's not a
I
good
just
quarterback.
lean on him just because I know how much you hate him.
The fact that they had a spot in the playoffs.
Can we look at the other side of the ball though?
That
Did
guy's a
Daniel
quarterback.
Jones not surprise everybody?
He is. People are completely. They're saying that like he's the next Josh Allen.
All I thought about him was that how smart he was on when it wasn't there, that quick decision to make a run for it.
Yeah, and he can move, man. Like that's what I mean. Like with Josh Allen, he's got the Josh Allen size, and he can throw the ball deep. But his decision making to just get out of the pocket and run for 5-6 yards at a time
The
is
funny thing about him
great.
running is he actually doesn't look that fast, but the speed he's actually running at is really fast. Like you remember that play he had was it a season ago or 2 seasons ago where he just saw the gap in the line, hit the line, and he made like a 70-yard run or something,
He
60-yard run,
he
and he
fell
fell
down.
over his own legs. The
Yeah,
speed that they clocked him at was something ridiculous, like 23 miles an hour or something.
yeah.
Like
He's
he
just so
was
big.
running super fast.
Yeah.
But it didn't look that way. It looked like, fuck, this guy is going 10 miles an hour. Hurry the fuck up. You're not going to get it.
He's a free agent too after this season.
I think they keep him.
Oh my
Well,
god, I think he gets a huge
let's
contract.
see.
Why
Let's see how
why
far
would
he
you not?
goes.
He's 24 years old, something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, somebody else could just make him a better deal. And
Well, they can just franchise tag him then.
yeah.
So I think they have to like June 11th or something to franchise tag guys before free agency opens up or whatever it is. But so there's no way the New York Giants let Daniel Jones go after making the playoffs and then beating the Vikings in the first round.
But again, the Vikings weren't that good of a team.
Sure, but still, did anyone think the Giants were going to be in the playoffs? Did anyone think the Giants were going to have a winning record?
At the beginning of the season, no.
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 No one can say they did, except for diehard Giants fans that are fucking clueless to how good or bad that team was.
That whole division, it's shocking how good that whole division got in the playoffs.
Oh my God, there's 3 of them still in the playoffs. There's 3 teams in that division, which was the worst division last year, still in the playoffs playing this weekend.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about the Giants is their highest paid player plays like 2 plays a game. Kenny Golladay.
He actually had his best game as a Giant. He has best game as a Giant.
And they use him
was
to block.
blocking.
He's blocking.
He was blocking. He made a huge catch.
Yeah. They it's so funny. He's like $80 million or something like that.
Worth every penny to get that touchdown.
Yeah.
That's his first touchdown, was it not?
That was
his
the
first Giants touchdown, no?
That was the week before. That was the last game of the regular season. So it didn't mean anything. But that was his first touchdown as a Giant.
Yeah, he's only got one touchdown, eh?
One touchdown. Well, he barely plays. He like was dismissed from the team for like 2 games earlier this year. Now he's just out there to block. He's just a blocking wide receiver, and he's doing it well. He's trying to. Hey, he's out there working for that team. Overpaid blocker. He's an overpaid wide receiving blocker. Highest paid 6th wide receiver on a team, NFL history. Okay. Last game, the Monday night game, and I say last game poetically because it just might be Tom Brady's last game. The Cowboys came out and left no doubt. It wasn't even close. Don't even even the score 31 Cowboys, 14 Buccaneers makes it sound closer than it was. This was a 31-0 game.
So the Bucks played like the team that they were all season.
Yes.
We thought at some point, they're going to turn it around. They're going to turn it around. And then in the playoffs, we thought, Brady might have some Brady magic. But no. Holy shit. Did you, if you look at how the Cowboys played in that, every player on the Cowboys was playing harder than any player on the Bucks. When they blocked, they would push through a guy, create a
Yeah.
gap. They were knocking guys out of the way. Like the running backs, Pollard and Zeke, mostly Pollard. He's so explosive getting through the line there. Like they ran with purpose. They blocked with a purpose. They were carving up the defense with throws. Dak played. That was probably the best game I've ever seen him play in a meaningful situation. He
Oh
played
yeah.
a perfect game.
It's funny to hear you say that, considering you were shitting all over him last week. I think, let me have it written down here. You said he's better than you. You'd rather have Derek Carr over Dak Prescott.
At that point, yeah, I said, but
And
I
so
also did say this
has
is
that
his
changed?
chance. We said it for both Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott. This is a pivotal point for them. This is a time for them to show what they got. Because going into this, they both had one playoff win. One of them walked out with another one. One of them walked away with nothing.
So would you now knowing that Dak can put up 5 touchdowns in a wild card weekend game and lead that Dallas offense to a 31-14 victory over Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, would you still take Derek Carr over Dak Prescott?
As of right this moment, no. Dak's got the vote.
So you're just week to week.
Absolutely.
You're game by game. You switch your quarterback minds game by game.
These are not my guys, though. These are not my guys. Like these aren't
You
the guys I've
sounded
been
very
back in
much
my whole career.
You sounded very much like Derek Carr has been your guy all year. You've been a Vegas Derek Carr guy.
I was shitting on him all year. Except when he got fired, I kind of felt bad. I said, well, he doesn't deserve the blame. That's all.
No, you said he was the king of all QBs.
The QB king. Anyway, I think this week is a real test. Not to say like if he loses, he's a shit QB. But this is a real test of playing actually a good team.
Coming up this
San
weekend.
Francisco. Yeah.
Well, it's the best defense in the league.
Yeah. Now, I'm not just if he loses, I'm not going to say, well, he's shit. That's trash. If he has another good game, exactly. If he has another good game, I'm on the bandwagon for good.
Well, until Derek Carr throws for more yards than him next year at some
Derek
point.
Carr's cyclical. Like he'll get your hopes up, have a good game, and then he'll just blow it.
I can honestly say that Derek Carr's never had my hopes up.
No, but
that's just a you thing.
I've never. No,
I'm happy that you pedaled back. You pedaled back on last week's Derek Carr love.
Yeah, because that's what I mean. It's cyclical. Like 1 week you're high on the guy, you think he's going to do good. Maybe,
but he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything this week.
No. Last week we just felt bad for him because he kind of got the brunt of the blame for the Raiders season.
So you just felt pity on him, so that's why you wanted to hype him up.
I guess so. Yeah.
It's not like you.
It's
not like
pity somebody. Pity myself all the time.
That is like you. That is much more like you.
But yeah, I think did he retire Tom Brady? Because they were opposites on the other side of the ball. Like you looked at Tom Brady play, he was trash, overthrows. Now, I don't know if it was that the guys were running the wrong routes, they had all the signals crossed. But at the end of the day, he had receivers wide open, nobody covering him, and he'd overthrow it by a mile. And it's like just adjust and throw it to him.
Yeah. I thought there was a point in watching that game where I messaged one of my group chats saying, can the Buccaneers bench Tom Brady? Is that something that they're allowed to do? Is something that they would do? Because he was terrible. He wasn't like the whole.
I think they have another guy to put in. I don't think they have that backup plan.
It doesn't look like anyone wants to play with him. Like the offensive line is letting guys through. And in the fourth quarter, it was almost like Tom Brady was taking sacks just so he can get up and yell at them. Just so that he can go into the video room on like Monday, if they still do it after they lose, and be like, look at this guy, piece of shit, letting him through and hitting me. Look at this guy, piece of shit, letting him through and hit me. Like it just seemed like at some point he was just playing out of spite on his own team instead of trying to win the game. Like he didn't look like he had it either. And I don't know if he'll be back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know that he has a lot of life stuff going on, and his kids live in Miami, and he probably still wants to be close to them, but they're old enough to probably get on a flight by themselves and go to visit him wherever he's going to be, because he has options. He can go to Vegas. Theoretically, he could go to San Francisco. I don't know. They have 3 good quarterbacks now. I don't know why they'd want Tom Brady. But he has options. He can go back to New England, which I also don't know why people don't believe in Mac Jones in New England, considering that they put a fat fucking idiot as their offensive coordinator from the defensive side of the ball. So I think Mac Jones is still a better option than Tom Brady at this point,
I think
but he does have options.
it all comes down to, does he still have the belief in himself? Because that kind of looked at the end of it where it's potentially that he doesn't believe he can do it at a Tom Brady level anymore. And he doesn't want to be just a schmo out there. I don't think he wants to play just because he still can. I think he wants to play because he thinks he can still win.
Right. And
So
I think that he's very much a guy that believes that he can still win on a team that has it.
yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I
Now,
think he
here's a
can take
question
his
for
time.
you. Would you rather, because this we saw the Lions possibly end Aaron Rodgers' career. Aaron Rodgers still thinks that he can play at an MVP level. He said that the other day. Now, would you, if you were on a team, let's say you are the Vegas
So
Raiders,
Derek Carr's not available. I got either
Derek
Tom
Carr's,
Brady
you've run him out
or
of town. He is available. He is 100% available. You've run him out of town. So he will not come back to play for you. But would you take Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers?
I think I take that's a tough one. I think I take Aaron Rodgers.
I think I would take Aaron Rodgers as well.
Yeah. Now, do I have good receivers? I feel like for either guy, you need like just some established veterans and just a solid team around them. Like you don't like neither one would be a good fit of the Colts, right? Like that's be a Colts situation. Am I just taking them and it's just gonna fucking ruin everybody? It's gonna ruin everything for everybody.
Yeah, but that's so we talk about how
Or
the
is it a
Colts
team
can't
that
do that.
doesn't want them, like a San Francisco or who else? Can't think, but a team that's good already. Oh yeah, you walking into like a Kevin Durant, walking into a championship situation.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. But do they want him? Like they got a good thing going on without it.
Well, I think San Francisco at this point, they have 3 quarterbacks that they could start. Garoppolo,
Well, they
Purdy,
got
and
two.
then
One guy's gonna get
Trey
hurt.
Lance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is they still don't know about Trey Lance, but that's their guy. That's the one they want to be. That's the guy they want to be good.
Yeah, but they
Now they can
wanted, but I
go
mean, at this point, if
at this
Brock
point,
Purdy is
yes.
gonna be the next Tom Brady, like comes in late in the season, rides to the playoffs, and if he wins the Super Bowl, that's exactly how Tom Brady's career started.
I
Brock
agree. If Purdy
Brock
comes
Purdy,
in,
if he wins the Super Bowl, he's on pace to be the next Tom Brady
if he wins the Super Bowl, that's the starting quarterback of the San Francisco
for
49ers for
sure.
next
Even
year.
if he goes deep.
Yeah, even if he makes the Super Bowl, that's the starting quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers next year. He might still like even right now, he probably still has a case to say I
I
should
don't
start.
think that I don't think Garoppolo could come back in the playoffs here. I don't think they give Garoppolo the
No,
job.
they've already said if Garoppolo
Yeah.
comes back, Purdy's gonna play. Now next week he does play the Cowboys defense, which is good. Like Micah Parsons was all over everybody.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see what
That's
happens with that. But I mean, I now here's the thing: you brought up the Colts. If you were a Colts fan, would you want Tom Brady on your team? Would you want Aaron Rodgers on your team? Keep in mind they were 1-2 in MVP voting last season,
last season, not this season.
not this season, but still, Tom Brady threw for more yards this year than Aaron Rodgers has ever thrown for.
I think either one would be a better option than what was the kid they had last year.
Matt Ryan. Now that's
No, no, no,
true.
no, not Matt Ryan. The guy they had last year.
The Colts.
Yeah, not this past season. Last year they had what's his name? He's in
Oh,
Washington now.
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz. I think either one's a better option than Carson Wentz. I think everybody knew, you and I both knew at least, that Matt Ryan was done. I don't like. I
Yeah,
never thought. I thought that was a farewell tour kind of season for him. Like he was done,
yeah.
and he kind of proved it. I think Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers would be a better guy to have on your team than that. It's just, would they be better than the guy they had 2 years ago, the former San Diego guy? What's his fucking name?
Philip Rivers.
Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers was what, a game away from the playoffs, or he made the playoffs, or yeah, he was a
They
game
made the
away.
playoffs. They made the playoffs and they lost, I think, in the first round.
Yeah. So That's who I think they'd be more comparable to. Getting
100%. That's a good
Phillip,
comparison. Yeah. Because Philip Rivers
old
was
Phillip Rivers in there.
on the same. Well, he was in a tier just below Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Which is still up there. Now, I agree with that. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see because I feel like if they have no other options and they go through the draft and they can't get one of those top flight quarterbacks in the draft, I think they could go for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
A lot of people in Indy would probably be happy with that. But
They
that's
got the
again,
money.
you're
They got
just
the money for him?
you're just plugging a hole. You're not actually building your team. You're just plugging
They
a
got
hole.
the money
They
for
have a
him?
lot. They have lots of money.
They got a lot of money. Okay.
The
Yeah.
Colts got a lot of money. Okay, so let's get some off-season stuff before we get into the upcoming games this weekend. Lots of head coaching stuff going on. No one's hired a head coach yet. Everyone's just kind of interviewing. It's kind of boring out there. The guys that have been getting fired, like Nathaniel Hackett, the Broncos head coach, is interviewing for offensive coordinating jobs. The big news for me as a Lions fan was that their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, who's had, I think he had 2 or 3 head coaching jobs, has decided to stay in Detroit. If you were a Detroit Lions fan, I think that is the biggest offseason news that we needed. That's the biggest free agent with quotation
He was
marks.
getting interviewed for a head coach job somewhere?
Yeah, in 2 or 3 places.
Yeah.
Which makes sense considering what he did for that Lions offense. Now that was out of all the free agents. I think we have 17 free agents. I think 9 of them I counted are guys that I think we need back. But Ben Johnson, our offensive coordinator, was the guy at the top of my list. That's not a player, that was a coach. Like, he is everything to us right now. He's a genius when it comes to play calling. I mean, you saw some of the plays that he had thrown to Penei Sewell to get a first down to clinch a game, the hook and ladder play to beat the Packers on that last game. It's just, we needed him. So that's awesome. That's great news. There goes all my stress from the offseason as a Lions fan. That was all of my stress. So now it's just, we'll go next year with our same coaching staff. Let's get it. Now everyone's kind of just still falling into place. Do you have any offseason stuff you want to talk about that you think is?
You think Aaron Donald's gone?
Oh yeah, some guys talking about retirement. So we already talked about Brady
He
and
posted
Rodgers.
and then quickly unposted, changing what is his Twitter handle, his Instagram handle, like former defensive lineman for the LA Rams.
Yeah, then he switched it. Now I don't know if he actually is in control of his. A lot of these athletes, I don't know if they're in control of their Twitter.
No, but if he's not in control, that means that some guy just knew that, oh, he was this, so he changed it.
But it could be his buddy.
Said, hey, oh, don't change that. Don't change that. Leave it the way it was.
It could be his buddy, and they're like having drinks, and he's just like, I don't know, I don't feel like coming back this year. I just think it's too much. And then his buddy, who's in charge of his Twitter, was like, okay, cool, I'll post that. And then he posted it, and then he's like, wait, no, don't do that, you idiot. Take that off. Like, they could have been around a poker table.
100%.
It could have been a lost bet. It could have been anything.
Yeah.
I think that it's the one telltale sign for Aaron Donald coming back, I think, is that their head coach Sean McVay, who also was talking about retiring, said he's coming back. I don't think he would come back if Stafford wasn't coming back. I don't know if
this guy's allowed to retire. He's way too young to be retiring.
He's like 37. It's just quitting, right? It's not retiring. It's quitting.
Take a year off. Do a Clinsbury. Go to Thailand for a year. Yeah. Turn the phone off and then come back.
Hey, so I actually want to talk to you about that. So we have our little chat thing where we send videos to each other, and we had our production accountant break down the contracts of coaches that have been fired. And there's a clause in the NFL for head coaches where usually you have a non-compete clause in work when you like get fired or resigned, that you're not allowed to get hired somewhere else or take a job somewhere else. Now, coaches, when they get fired by their teams, actually there's a clause that say they have to go out and find work. They have to actually actively look for work, because now, like, Matt Rule for the Panthers is owed $40 million. So obviously the Panthers want him to go somewhere else, because in the contract, if he gets a $20 million, this is what our accountant said. If he gets a $20 million, he's not actually our accountant. I don't know if he's.
It's me. I was the guy that sent this. I love you call the production accountant. I know. I got a second job doing some accounting work and stuff, so they called me the production accountant. But yeah, it was me. I know it was me, because I said it. There's only 2 of us here.
So if he gets a job for $20 million somewhere, then the Panthers are off the hook for $20 million of that contract. So
Yeah.
you have to actively go out and find a job as a fired NFL coach nowadays if you get these huge contracts. Now, can Cliff Kingsbury just went to Thailand? He's bought a one-way ticket and went to Thailand. He's just there. Well, that's quitting, right? Isn't retiring an age that you're at
but
where you
here's
no
the difference,
longer?
though. Here's the catch, though. What is Cliff owed on his contract?
He just got a brand new one this offseason. They just re-signed him. So I don't know his number, but they just re-signed him.
Right. Maybe I don't know what the situation is, but maybe he's just voluntarily opting out of the money.
No one would do that.
People do.
People opt out of. I mean, some people. So
people who've already gotten millions might opt out of millions. People that are doing a podcast which they don't get paid are not opting out. No.
I'm trying to find his money contracts. It's not in here, but he was set to make $5.5 million this year is what he made. So imagine that for 5 more years. Now, like, he's just gone to Thailand now, but at a certain age, it's just quitting, right?
It is, but
is Sean McVay actually retiring, or is he just quitting?
That's quitting.
That's quitting. He's quitting. Yeah,
quitting a job, taking a little time off, and then come back. That's all. Find another job. Like, McVay will find another job easy. Oh, he's had a lot of success.
He's already got a deal lined up where, like, he can go into a booth and just commentate while he waits for another head coaching job. But what, like, come on. Really? Are we okay with this? With guys just quitting and going back? Like, are we okay with Sean Payton being like, I don't want to fucking coach this team. They suck. I'm going to wait for another team to coach. Are we okay with this?
Yeah, I mean, but he's a little bit older. So, he's kind of had the stress. But
so age is the defining factor.
Here's the thing, though. He might end up at the same team. What if there was a whole other thing where, what if Brady goes to the Saints?
Yeah, then McVay comes back.
Well, not McVay.
Oh, sorry. Payton.
Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know. But people just need a break, man. You've taken time off. I've voluntarily taken time off.
Taking time off right now.
Yeah, but that's not involuntary. You haven't been offered a contract.
It started voluntarily and it's turned into involuntarily.
Usually as it does.
I'm just unemployed. Yeah, I don't know about these head coaches anymore, and just the ability to do that it just feels like you're quitting on your team. You tell these guys for years to not quit on you, and then you just quit on them. It seems weird to me.
But I think the Rams are in the situation where they won a Super Bowl and now nobody gives a shit anymore. It's gonna fall.
Why don't they give a shit?
It's gonna fall apart. Everything fell apart.
Why don't they give a shit? That's what I was like. Why don't you win another? Like, go win another one. Do you not want to win another one? Do people not want to win more than one?
I think some people are just not everybody has that Tom Brady thing, that mentality. What was it? I think Julian Edelman had a little story of he was training with him in the offseason, and this was before they were going to win number 4. Brady was going to win number 4. And Julian made a comment about, like, oh, we're going to do it this year. You're going to go after Montana. And he's like, Montana? I'm going after Jordan.
Yeah, well, I think his best comment or quote ever was, someone asked him, like, out of your 7 rings, which one's your favorite? And he said the next one.
I don't think he had 7 yet.
It's whatever number it was. It was what's favorite ring which one's your favorite ring?
I think he said that at like 5, at ring 5 or something.
Yeah, like that's the mentality I want. And
exactly.
Everybody I meet in life, I want them to have that mentality.
Yeah,
it's a winning.
That's
mentality.
why Jordan punched Kerr.
Yeah, well, I was like, but McVay doesn't have that mentality.
That's why Kobe didn't pass you the ball, because if you didn't have that mentality, he's not going to pass you the ball. Why should he pass you the ball when you don't train as hard as he does?
See, it's true. This is truth.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into this weekend's upcoming games. And should we start with our game of the week presented to us and you by BetStamp? It's your one-stop shop for line.
I also
you're gonna go right.
Want to point out? Well, yeah. I didn't know you could get right into it.
Well,
I didn't know you
someone's
could get
gonna
right
pay
into
for
it.
this. Someone's gonna pay for this stuff. Are you paying for it?
I didn't say don't do it. I just had a little call out for you for not calling me. I thought you were gonna call me out way more on the Dak Prescott thing.
Well, I didn't
I
have
thought
enough.
you kind
I
of
I didn't think you'd cave that quickly.
cave. I mean, I just gave the reality of the situation.
Yeah, you love him now.
I don't love him. I thought he had a great performance. That's all. Like he played perfectly. He had a
You
perfect
cut
game.
you cut Derek Carr from your team for Dak
Derek
Prescott.
Carr wasn't in the playoffs.
Almost immediately you did. Almost immediately. You gave up on Derek Carr before I even finished the sentence asking if you like Dak Prescott now.
Yeah, because I knew there was a preemptive attack.
Well, how am I supposed to dig into somebody that immediately folds?
You kick them while they're down. You don't let up. You don't let up.
Anyways, Puya's love
Pay
for
the
Dak
bills. Pay the
Prescott.
bills.
Puya's love for Dak Prescott is brought to you by BetStamp. It's your one-stop shop for line shopping, bet tracking, and sports betting odds. You would never just go with the first price you see while shopping for flights. So why settle for the first odds when you find when betting? BetStamp changes that. The streamlined and easy to use app allows you to find a wide spectrum of odds for any bet. Then it makes it easy to track your bets in one place. You can set alerts in case the line changes and learn what bets your friends and even some celebrity bettors are making. That was a horrible ad copy reading because I am heated now about being called out on calling you out on Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
God damn.
I feel I might have won that. For a guy who actually lost the old point of it, I might have actually come out on top there.
Maybe. I didn't think you'd fold that easy. For a guy who never folds, you folded very easily.
You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
I'm kidding. Let's talk just in order of the games, and then we can each say which we're looking forward to most.
Well, I got to do the same thing I've done every week since the beginning. My game of the week,
Yeah.
yeah,
Go.
is the Buffalo game in Cincinnati. That's the rematch of the game we missed. The
Is it a
unfortunate DeMar Hamlin.
is it a rematch?
Yeah,
Or is it just the first match?
well, it's a replay, whatever you want to call it. Now it is a different location, so Cincinnati doesn't get the
Home field advantage.
yeah.
But they never played the first match, so is it technically a rematch or is it just the match?
They started the match. What, they got 5 minutes in?
Okay, so it's
I don't know.
not.
It's a replay.
Is it a replay?
Yeah.
A restart. A restart.
Sure. Restart. I'll take restart. I'll give you that one.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
There, I win that. I feel good again. A restart of the Bills Bengals in Buffalo. Bills are favorites to win by 4.5. I mean, since he's hot, the Bills, they both kind of stumbled a little bit this past weekend. Would you agree with that
But they
statement?
got
They both got wins. Is that what you just said?
yeah. So
Yeah. So who you got? Tell me about this. Who you got?
my gut wants to go Cincinnati again, but I think this is classic Chargers Jaguars. Except I don't see that big of a comeback on. But my gut wants Cincinnati, but my brain says Buffalo.
Your gut wants Cincinnati, eh?
Oh yeah.
Why? Because of Joe Burrow? Who do you like? Jamar Chase? Just the colors?
Yeah, I've been on the Cincinnati bandwagon since last year. I felt bad for them. Like I wanted Stafford to get the Super Bowl last year, but outside of him, I didn't really give a shit about anyone on the Rams.
Right.
And I've been kind of riding that Cincinnati bandwagon since last year.
Okay. Valid.
So, yeah.
I mean, I don't care who wins this game. I just hope it's a good game.
I think it will be.
I think it will be too. And I also think the Bengals win. I know it's in Buffalo, and I know Buffalo's kind of was the favorite all throughout the year, but I think that Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Josh Allen. Now, that is not a alarming, shouldn't be an alarming statement or like a hot take. I think that they're like both top three, but I think Burrow is ahead of Josh Allen.
I think Burrow's more consistent, less sloppiness to his game.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think he's just a better quarterback in terms of the traditional values a quarterback has, which is not the same things you want in a quarterback these days. But I mean, Burrow's not going to run out of the pocket for 8 yards where Josh Allen can very much definitely do that. But I just think that Burrow reads the defenses faster. I think Burrow is more accurate. I just think he's a slightly better quarterback. And that's, again, not a slight on Josh Allen. They're like 1-2, maybe 2-3. or you could even say 3-4 if you want to make an argument, but they're the top tier guys that you'd want on the field.
Yeah.
And
It's not like you're saying Derek Carr is better than him.
It's not like I'm saying Derek Carr is better than them. I would agree with you though, in like all costs that this is probably the game of the week. This will be the most exciting game of the week. Maybe it's the most hyped game of the week because these arguably could be the two Super Bowl favorites in the AFC conference. Now,
I disagree with that. I think the Chiefs have to be in there too.
that's why I said arguably.
So that's 3 out of 4 teams. That's a 75% shot.
Well, that's why they're all there still.
Arguably, any team from the AFC could make the Super Bowl.
The first game of the weekend, Chiefs, Jaguars. Now, this is the biggest point spread. Obviously, the Chiefs are favorites to win by 8.5 against the Jaguars, who no one expected to be here. And I mean, the offense is going to offense. We know that about the Jaguars. It might take them a little bit, but Trevor Lawrence is going to throw some touchdowns in this game.
So my theory, which I explained earlier in the season, and if it holds true, which I believe until proven wrong, it holds true. The high was too high for the Jaguars last week. There's no way they can get up for this game.
Yes, so we made this call last.
Yeah,
I think we did.
That was before. Minnesota, the comeback, the biggest deficit in a game in NFL history, modern history, or whatever.
Yeah,
for Minnesota, and then they got thumped by Dallas.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing. Like that emotional high from coming back from a game that you thought that you could potentially just have been completely out. I don't think they can overcome it. Like that is a very difficult thing to do in sports.
I agree.
And I think the Chiefs kind of mop the floor with them a little bit because of that.
Now, I don't know much about the Jacksonville Jaguars linebackers, but I think the key to this game, like always, for the Jaguars, if they do want to win, I think you have a very good point. With their high from last week is so high that it's probably going to be hard to refocus on the Kansas City Chiefs coming up, and that is a tough team to refocus on because they are arguably the favorites in the AFC to go to the Super Bowl. They had to stop Travis Kelce, and I don't know if anyone can do that.
Cincinnati knows how.
Cincinnati knows how.
Just watch the tape. Watch that tape.
That'll be our conversation next week, hopefully. I just hope that this game is closer than the 8.5 spread it's supposed to be. I hope the Jaguars keep it close. I hope the Jaguars are just entertaining to watch because it is a fun team to watch with Lawrence and his buddy ATN, and that defensive line looks awesome. I just hope it's a close game. I don't know. I'm kind of bored of the Chiefs, to be honest.
Sure. You probably haven't watched them play in ages. How many weeks has it been since you watched a Chiefs game?
Watched them play last week or 2 weeks.
Couldn't have watched them last week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I watch them play. I got 3 TVs in the house. I watch them play all the time.
I guess so. They're going to be on.
They are going to be on. The next game, Saturday.
The next game is a divisional game.
It's a divisional rivalry.
Those are always good.
Those are always good. Now, the Eagles beat the Giants twice.
Yeah.
By 26 points and then by 6 points.
Now, it's rare to beat a team 3 times in a season.
It is very hard to beat a team 3 times.
San Francisco did it to Seattle.
San Francisco just did it to Seattle. The Giants are hot right now. Daniel Jones is playing hot. Jalen Hurts has only played 1 game in the last 4 weeks.
Yep.
Hopefully the rest that have not played last weekend is best for him, recovering from some injuries he's got there. Now, I don't know, man. The way the Giants played against the Vikings, I think they might play spoiler in this game. Eagles are favorites to win by 7.5 right now. I don't know.
I agree. This very well could be one of those situations, which is rare, that the break from the Eagles is going to mess them up just because the Giants are coming in hot.
Yeah.
And it could be a little bit of time for Jalen Hurts to get back into the swing of things, having missed a few weeks. That if they can just kind of get out in front and then not take the foot off the pedal, maybe that they can just actually come out with a win, because it'll be, by the time Jalen Hurts settles in, might be a little too late. Having said that, though, you got to give respect to the team that would just kind of finish top of the NFC.
Oh, for sure. That's why they're 7.5 point favorites. I think that number, honestly, the more I think about it, I think that's wildly high. Wildly high for a team that the Eagles only beat the Giants by 6 points at the week 18, the last game of the regular season. Jalen Hurts played that game. Daniel Jones did not. The
Did
Giants
Jalen Hurts
rested.
last game of the
He
season?
played the
Jalen Hurts
last game of the regular season. Yeah, because they had to win in order to get this first wild card bye. So the Giants are hot right now. I think this is a perfect game for an upset. If you're looking for an upset game this weekend, other than the Bengals Buffalo Bills, which is also an upset win if the Bengals win, this game, Giants over Eagles, I think this is an upset here.
I think I'd take the Eagles right now.
Everything says Eagles. You have to have some balls to take the Giants. I'll say that. Do I want to take the Giants? I don't have balls. I think the Eagles win.
What's the best odds? What's the best odds you can come up with here on the
The only one I can find on BetStamp is you can get the Eagles at 7.5, or you can get them at 8.5, which I would take that if I'm betting Giants for sure. You can get them at 8 right now on certain apps. Now, I don't know, man. I think the Giants cover the spread. I think this game is not 7.5 point game. I think this is a 3 point game. And if the Eagles win, they squeak it out. It just Jalen Hurts, is he 100%? We don't know. I don't know. We don't know. We don't have any intel. Now these Saturday games, you'll be able to watch these, or you're watching in your car while you're driving?
No, Saturday I can do.
There you go. There you go. Everybody, Puya will be watching on Saturday.
Yeah.
Then we talked Bills the last game, Sunday night.
It's not even Sunday night.
Sunday night for the East Coasters, 6:30, 3:30 for us.
We don't care about the East Coasters.
We don't care about the East Coasters.
No, we're both born and bred West Coasters, except neither one of us was born on the West Coast.
No. 49ers Cowboys. 49ers 3.5 point favorites. This line seems right to me.
This is an ESPN 30-30. Like, this is history. 90s, well, for us, 90s history of just Cowboys and 49ers.
Yeah. Like this, there is a storyline here. These two dominant 90s teams. Montana versus Aikman.
Steve Young.
Emmett
Deion
Smith.
Sanders.
Oh, yeah. Like
Sanders played for both teams.
He did. Who you got? 49ers 3.5. They're in San Francisco. 49ers are hot. Cowboys are hot. Dak Prescott versus Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Mike Parsons versus Nick Bosa.
This game is huge for Brock Purdy's development. Like, if
all he has to do is give the ball to Debo and Christian McCaffrey, right? Greg Kittle. It's all he has to do.
George Kittle, yeah.
Kittle.
Yeah, they got some weird schemes. I love their schemes. They put McCaffrey as the receiver and Debo as the running back.
Yeah,
with a fullback in the middle.
Yeah, I love it. It's fun to watch San Francisco play. They used to be a really boring team.
Well, none of their players had kind of developed yet. Like, Brandon Ayuk was dropping every ball. He'd never get a reception. Now he's
by the way, that guy, that piece of shit, Brandon Ayuk, all I needed for my parlay to hit was for him to score an anytime touchdown. Brock Purdy hit him right in the fucking hands, bounced off him. He had a second chance to try to catch it, bounced off his hands. If it hits you, we've been saying this on this podcast for years. If it hits you in the hands, you have to catch the ball. If the football hits you in the hands, you have to catch the football. This is the men's league we're talking about. You have to catch the football. If it hits you in the hands, if it hits you in the face, you have to catch the football.
Yeah.
I hate him now. And I actually hope the Cowboys win because of him.
Okay, we got the Cowboys.
I know. I think the 49ers win.
I do think the 49ers win, but if the Cowboys played the same as they played against Tampa Bay, they can win this game for sure.
Yes, they can. If Dak Prescott runs that offense the way he did, he doesn't need 5 touchdowns. If he gets 2-3 touchdowns and then just plays the same way without turnovers, without like just controlling the ball, and Pollard can run the ball, Zeke can run the ball, just give it to CeeDee, let him do things, yards after catch, they can definitely win this game.
Yeah. Like, they wanted that win in Tampa Bay. You could see that they wanted everything more.
Yeah.
They just need to have that same mentality against the 49ers.
Yeah, I agree 100%. All right. Well, though, that's it for this week, I think. You got anything else you want to say?
I don't think there's another consolation game.
No, this is it. We will talk to you all next week after the division. Oh, also, let's just, I do have one thing I want to talk about last year's, because if you're not excited about, because the wildcard weekend was great. If you aren't more excited about this divisional weekend, let me remind you what happened last year. Bengals
Remind me, please.
What's that?
I said, remind me, please.
Oh, I'm about to. You didn't have to cut me off for me to do that. I was already going to do it.
I know you were.
4 games. The Bengals won on a last-second walk-off field goal. Evan McPherson, boom, kick it, won the game. No time left. Bengals win. Niners won on a last-second field goal. Robbie Gould, I believe. I don't know.
Yep.
Boom. Walk-off field goal. No time left. Win the game. Game was tied. Both those games were tied. One on last-second field goals. Rams. Matthew Stafford, I don't remember, threw like an 80-yard bomb to get them into field goal, tied with the Bucks. Boom. Matt Gay, I think, was the kicker for the Rams, or still is. Anyways, last second field goal, walk off. Rams win the game, no time left on the clock. Then the game, all those games were amazingly tied with 5 seconds left in the game. Game of the week was the Chiefs versus the Bills. Last second field goal for the Chiefs. They had 13. Buffalo scored to go ahead by 3 with 13 seconds left in the game.
That was the coin flip game. Mahomes
throws the ball down the field 80 yards. They kick a field goal. I don't know the kicker's name. I was doing so well. And kick field goal, tie the game up. No time left on the clock. They go to overtime. Coin toss happens. Chiefs win the coin toss, score a touchdown, first possession, game over, changes the rules of football for all of time because of this game. If you aren't excited about this weekend, then just listen to this clip over and over and over and over again, because last year's divisional, for all 4 games, were bangers. Could not miss football. I hope we get the same thing this week.
Do they listen to it with my interruptions, or do we edit that out?
I can't edit those out because it's always while I'm talking, and I refuse to edit myself out, so I can't just scrub you out of it in between constables, whatever the fuck it's called.
Now, if we recorded together, you could have the mics set to different recording feeds.
At that point, I could just take the mic and keep it away from you and just talk.
Yeah, you could just take my mic down.
Yeah.
It could be you the entire time. And then you just edit in yourself, asking yourself genius questions to set yourself up for great responses. Make yourself sound like a genius.
I always do that, but you interrupt as I'm responding to try to get more words in. That's what happens here.
Well, that's what the production accountant does.
Do you want to sign us off of this divisional preview?
Nah, you go right ahead. I'll interrupt you while you do it.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. We will see you or not see you. You will listen to us next week. We will talk. We'll always try to be better. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Running Down the Clock is brought to you by the Ordinary Podcast Network and is every Thursday running until the week after the Super Bowl. We hope you enjoyed enough to subscribe and tune in again next week.